And I'm going to give you the first word that begins to do it. It's relationships, right? Relationships. Because when God gets ready to shift your life, he will bring a new relationship into your life. Just think about that. Or the old relationship will die. And they begin to leave out. There's a saying that says that a man doesn't fully become a man until his father dies. Because when people that you love and who have been vital in your life, when they fade out and die, your life is shifted into another season. Tag, you're it.
Style and substance in the GMC Sierra.
Step into another level of responsibility when people exit your life. But also, your life shifts into a total different dimension when a new person comes into your life. Because they bring gifts and knowledge and wisdom and grace and skill and strategy and understanding and enlightenment and direction and coaching. And God will bring a person, and sometimes what you've been praying for is not a thing, but it's embodied in a person. You don't really need more money. You need a person who has the wisdom to teach you what to do with the money. Sometimes it's not that you need the money. You need a person who then gives you access to a person that has the money. You're sometimes just one person away from God doing something to shift your whole life. And let me just tell you this. I walked into a meeting one day just to serve a friend of mine. And the moment that I walked in, he beckoned for me to come to his table. And there sitting at his table, there were two billionaires. Billionaires with a B. I knew one of them. I wanted to know the other one. And I'm sitting there, and so he beckons for me to come and sit at the table with the two billionaires. The billionaire that I wanted to know had an empty seat by him, but I didn't presumptuously take that seat. My wife was with me, and so we sat on the other side of the round table that was there in my city. And I'm looking across the table at the billionaire that I want to know, and there's an empty seat beside him. But you don't just put yourself in that seat. God needs to put you there. And here's what I asked God. I bowed my head at that table and I said, God, show me a need in this billionaire's life that I can meet. Because I heard the Holy Spirit say these words to me. Everybody has a need. I don't care how much money you have. Everybody has a need. Don't ever be intimidated because somebody has more than you in a certain area. Everybody has a need. And so I said, God, show me a need that's in this man's life that he has that I can meet. And no sooner than I had said those words, I watched them bring this man. We were having a fine dinner in a fine establishment in Atlanta, Georgia. And do you know that after our meal, the billionaire asked for a cup of coffee. They brought his coffee in a paper cup. Who does that? Why? There was china there for dinner, and we had forks. We weren't eating with plasticware. We had silverware. And they bring the billionaire a hot cup of coffee in a paper cup. I watched him bring it to his mouth and put it down quickly because it was burning his fingers. Immediately, I saw a need. I was not a part of the wait staff, but I saw a need. I asked God, show me a need that I can meet. If you meet a need, they'll recognize you at their feet. And I saw the need, and I got up and I went to the maitre d', and I asked him, I said, can you give me a ceramic cup? They gave me a ceramic cup, and I brought the cup to the table and sat it down, took the coffee from the paper cup and poured it in his ceramic cup and sat it in front of the billionaire. And the billionaire looked up at me and he said, thank you, Bishop, or is it Pastor? I said, it doesn't matter what you call me as long as you call me. and for the simple humility in my heart to see a need and serve a need, the billionaire pointed at the empty chair next to him and said, sit down. And for the next 30 minutes, he downloaded to me, 82 years old, billions of dollars, owns sports teams in America and all of that, and just billions of dollars. And he sat for the next 30 minutes and gave me his undivided attention and poured out his wisdom. I didn't need his money. I needed his perspective. I needed his mindset. I needed his understanding. Because if I can think like him, if you ever lose it, it's your mindset that will get it back. And so I asked him, I didn't ask him for his money. I didn't need his money. I just needed his perspective, his understanding. And he willingly and freely, as though I were his son. And he was not my race. But he looked at me like I was his son, because I honored him as though he was a father. And if you'll see a need, recognize a need. I didn't talk about what I needed from him, because I didn't need money from him. I needed his perspective. I needed his mindset. I needed his wisdom. I needed his understanding. And if you'll serve a need, God will open up. They'll recognize you. So God's answer to every problem is always a person. So God will use a relationship when he needs to shift the understanding of your life. So when Joshua got ready for his life to be totally discombobulated and then changed, he brought the relationship of a Moses there. And Moses, after Moses' influence in his life, he was never the same. After Elijah touched the life of Elisha, his life was never the same. He just touched him and then said, follow me. He said, what am I to do to you? What have I done to you? And he had to then pursue him. And he said, well, let me go back and slaughter the oxen. Because he said, I've got this to do. And he said, if you're going to follow me, you're going to give that up and be ready to follow me. And the relationship meant more than the thing. It meant more than the job. Because you'll be surprised how relationships are keys that will unlock you to other realms in life. And sometimes just by knowing just the right relationship, it can shift you in your life. Who was Timothy before Paul came into his life? When Paul met Timothy, Timothy was already saved. The Apostle Paul says to Timothy, he says, Timothy, I know the faith that is in your mother Eunice. It was at first in your grandmother Lois. And I perceive that it's also in you. But he had a saved mother and a saved grandmother, and yet he had dormant gifts on the inside of him. And until Paul met Timothy and Timothy met Paul, his gifts lay dormant. And so it took an Apostle Paul coming into the young life of a young teenage Timothy and saying, Timothy, stir up the gift of God on the inside of you. It took a relationship to stir his gift. And in every person that Jesus called as a disciple, it was a relationship that shifted their life. And Jesus came to James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were professional fishermen, said, follow me. And they're like, dude, who are you? What am I to do with you? They dropped it. He said, listen, you'll no longer be fishers of fish in the sea. You're going to be fishers of men. I'm changing your destiny. I'm changing your destiny. I'm going to use those skills, but I'm going to change the folks that you're after. Instead of catching fish, this time you're going to catch people. It was a relationship that shifted his whole perspective. Who is the person that if you just bring that one into your life changes? I'm in my 41st year of marriage with this girl that I met in my high school. I was all by myself. It was just me. Until God brought a relationship in. And when he did, pow, I gave her 5 children.